Welcome to Coach Eigner's Math. Today we're going to talk about area and perimeter of rectangles. Area is the number of square units on the interior of the figure, and the perimeter is the distance around the figure. Very similar to the circumference of a circle. Looking down below, find the area and perimeter of a rectangle using the following formulas. Area of a rectangle is length times width, or A equals LW. The perimeter is going to be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, or P equals 2L plus 2W. But before we can get on to area and perimeter, those triangles are going to come show their face again, so I want to make sure that we talk about them and make sure we know what's going on. 30, 60, 90 triangles and 45, 45, 90 triangles have special rules. In this first picture, we've got a 30, 60, 90. So we say across from our 30 is our X, across from our 90 is our 2X, and across from 60 is X radical 3. So right now, if 10 equals 2X, X would be 5, which would make this side 5 radical 3. So being able to do that is going to help us find the missing sides that we need necessary. Say that had been the diagonal of a rectangle right there, we would have been able to figure out the length and the width. Looking on at, let me go ahead and plug these in. 5 radical 3 and 5. Looking on at example number 2, got a 45, 45, 90 triangle. We know that our 45s give us an isosceles triangle. They've got to be the same, X and X. And across from our 90 is our X radical 2. Now in this case, we can cancel out our radical 2's, and X is 6. Okay, so that would be finding the perimeter or the length and width of a square, because 45 cut in half would give you 90, which would give you 4 90-degree angles. And we'd know they'd have to be the same size sides. So now that we've done that, let's look down below, find the missing values for each. At the end of the day, length and width isn't too big a deal. You could switch them as long as they stay the same for the whole problem. You won't have a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and call 4 my length and 5 my width. So the area is the length times the width, which is 4 times 5, or 20. The perimeter is 2L plus 2W, or 8. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 10. 2 times 5 is 10, which is 18. Looking on, the next problem we have, we've got a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So again, this is X, this is 2X, this is X radical 3. So knowing that, we know that X has to be 2X is 4, X is 2, so this would be 2 radical 3. So length we're going to call 2, width we're going to call 2 radical 3. Okay. So our formula here, and this is where it gets important, guys, that we're paying attention. We don't have to put this in a calculator. We're going to say 2 times 2 radical 3, which is 4 radical 3. 2 times 2 is 4. We're going to keep our radical 3. And then we got to say 4 plus 4 radical 3. And that right there will be our answer in its simplest form. Right now, I do not want you to put that in the calculator. I want you to leave it just like that. So looking down below, area of a square. Now a square is a rectangle, but not all rectangles are squares. I'm saying that for the purpose of this. We know that the area of the square is the length times the width, but because a square is going to have congruent sides, which is different than a rectangle, okay, we know all 4 sides are congruent. I don't have to say length times width. I can say S squared, or side squared. So I can take the side and square it. So right here, I know that, or I know that the perimeter is 4 times one side. So looking right now, X minus 2 is my side. So I'd list that there, and for the width, I'd list x minus 2. So this one is going to end up leaving you a variable because we have no way to solve for x. So to say the area, I would say x minus 2 squared, which is x minus 2 times x minus 2. X times x gives me x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. So the area would be x squared minus 4x plus 4. And that would be where we leave our final answer. Now, that was our area. Now if we're doing the perimeter is 4 times one side, which is x minus 2. So 4 times that, I'm going to distribute and say 4x minus 8 would be my perimeter. They may in the future give you more information, like tell you what the perimeter is and make you solve for x. But in this case, they did not do that. Let's look on at example number 6. Here's the other example of our special right triangle. We know these two sides have to be x because it's a 45, 45, 90. It's a square, which makes this x radical 2. Cancel out the radical 2's, x equals 4. So my length is 4, my width is 4. So the area would be 4 squared, which is 16. The perimeter would be 4 times 4, which is also 16. So, as we're looking at this, let's go ahead and look on down. We've got a square. And as soon as they tell me square, I'm thinking there is a possibility for 45, 45, 90, which of course they then go tell me the diagonal is 6. So this is x, and this is x radical 2. So this is where things get fun. Going back to our old rules, if 6 equals x radical 2, we need to divide both sides by radical 2. And x equals 6 radical 2. If you remember your shortcut, great, you can use that. Divide by 2, move the radical up. Or if you don't remember your shortcut, you got to say 6 over radical 2 times radical 2 over radical 2, which is 6 radical 2 over radical 2 over radical 2, which is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3 radical 2. And that would be x. So you can go plug in x for your width and your length. X is 3 radical 2. So the area would be 3 radical 2 squared. So 3 squared would be 9. Square root of 2 squared would be 2. So the area would be 18. The perimeter would be 4 times 3 radical 2. 4 times 3 is 12 radical 2. So my perimeter would be 12 radical 2. Looking at example number 8. The length of a rectangle is 4 more than twice the width. The perimeter is 62. Okay, so now they're taking it a step further on me. I'm going to draw myself a rectangle. The length of the rectangle is 4 more than, plus 4, twice the width. I'm going to call it 2x plus 4. I'm going to call this x. The perimeter is 62. Well, the easy way to do this is we can say 2x plus 4x plus 8, which is these two sides put together, equals 62. That's my perimeter. 6x plus 8 equals 62, or 6x equals 54. X would have to be 9. So now that I know 9, I can go plug it in. This side would be 9. 18 plus 4 is 22, so we'd call 9 and 22. I'm going to pull my calculator out and say 9 times 22 to get me my area of 198. Again, I've been doing bad on this, but units are very important, so please make sure you list your units there if they give you any. If not, you can always put U for units. Looking on, my suggestion is you try 9 and 10 on your own, see if you can get them. Please pause the video now and challenge yourself, see if you can figure it out. Welcome back. Looking at it, we've got C, A, and B. They didn't tell me this was a 30, 60, 90, so I can't assume, but I can say 10 squared minus 6 squared equals B squared. Or in this case, 100 minus 36 would equal B squared. Or 64 equals B squared, which is just 8 equals B. So now that we know our length and our width, the area is going to be 8 times 6, which is 48. And this will be 12 plus 16, which is 28. And again, we need to list our units. Okay. Looking down at number 10, the area and perimeter of this shape. Well, this shouldn't be too terribly hard, but you do need to break it up into pieces that are things that we've talked about. I don't know a formula for that whole big shape, but I do know a formula for each of these items. So as I'm looking at it, if this piece is 6, this piece would be 6. If this piece is 5, this piece would be 5. If this piece is 5, this piece would be 5. If this piece is 4, this would be 4. And this would be 4. And this would be 6. Okay, so now I've gone and I've figured out all of my different boxes. I've got 4 of them. Now to do the perimeter, all I need to do is add up the exterior. So I'm going to start up at the top here. I'm going to say 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5. Because the definition of a perimeter is the distance around the outside. That would be 52 units. So now for the area. I'm going to go ahead and do this in a different color for you. And I'm going to find the area of 1, 2, 3, 4 shapes. So area 1, oops, I'm going to put you back on screen. Area 1 is 5 times 4, which is 20. Area 2 is 6 times 6, which is 36. Area 3 is 6 times 4, which is 24. And area 4 is 5 times 4, which is 20. So now, if I want to know the combined area, all I need to do is add those 4 numbers together. 20 plus 36 plus 24 plus 20 gives me a total area of 100 units. Now, if it works better for you, there's one other way to do this. I could look at it and say, I've got 16, and I've got 4 and 16 and 10. 16 times 10 would give me 160. And then if I took away these 2 boxes here, 5 and 6 is 30, and 5 and 6 is 30. So I'm going to take away the 30 and the 30, which is 60. I would also end up at 100. Either one of those options is a great way to do it. Which way you choose to do it is up to you. This has been Coach Eichner's Math. I appreciate you watching and hope you have a great rest of your day.